All right, so we have spent a lot of time looking at basic math and then some applied math. And as promised, I wanted to look back at the RDP, the reference data packet. And hopefully you can look at it with new eyes as you go through and you see the table of contents. A lot of this is now much more familiar. So we have variables, we call them, well, basically this nomenclature which tells us how to name these things. And involved in nomenclature are also prefixes. So as you go through, there are a number of different area and volume calculations. And again, you've had the opportunity to use these, a lot of these. See the volume of a cylinder, volume of a rectangle. So all of these are available, and if you've taken any kind of geometry class in the past, you've seen all these before. It really is just plug and chug once you know the radius, height. Pi is estimated at 3.14 in most cases. So a lot of this is just unit conversion, which again you've had some practice with. So pretty much anything that matters you're going to find on the RDP. You might have to get creative and do more than one unit conversion at a time, but otherwise everything's pretty much here. And then you get into some more common applications. These are things that people typically memorize here, the weight-volume relationships. This is for water. Head pressures. We've used these conversions more than anything. Talk more about the physics of water and wastewater. Here's the velocity and flow rate. So we've looked at these a lot before. And then, depending on which certification exam you're taking, you might need to know how to calculate horsepower. You might need to know how to look at efficiencies. But the important thing is that you can now plug and chug, because you've had lots of time working on practice problems, especially applications, and you can actually use these mathematical processes you've learned and the operations you've learned to have pretty much a good success plugging and chugging into these already prepared for you equations. So you have a value over another value, you're converting a fraction to a decimal to a percentage. So nothing is new to you here. Everything is something that you've worked with mathematically in this course, and of course in any other prep class that you might take for a specific certification exam, distribution exam, base level exam, those types of things. So lots of conversion factors which you've used. When you get into dosage calculations, it's really all the same thing. And a lot of times you can create the equation yourself just by looking at the units. What's it asking you for? It's asking you for a mass, an amount, over a space or a volume. Same thing. Flow rates, all these basic formulas here. Sometimes the formulas are given depending on whether or not you're working in cubic feet or you're working in gallons. So the conversions are made part of this working equation here. So we've had a lot of opportunities to work on these. So my hope is that you see each of these just as a simple mathematics problem. A lot of times they're reiterated a couple times later on by section or by topic. And it really just depends on which certification exam you're sitting for. A lot of these sections you just completely ignore for some certification exams, but that's okay. At least it's available there to you. So again, it's very basic math: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then you have some exponents now and then, but there's really not a lot of that. So some square rooting, not a lot of that. Really most of it is just a little bit with exponents and mostly addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So the biggest thing is just don't get lost. Make sure that when you're using the reference data packet that you are going slow, making sure that you understand that you're using the correct components of it, and really take your time and when you first tackle a problem, say, what am I trying to get to? What have I been given? What am I trying to get to? And in these situations, a lot of times I prefer to sketch something out or at least visualize it in your head really well, because when you're given 3 different dimensions and you only need area, it helps to have a visual. Do I take the area of this plane? Do I take the area of that plane? Everything's here that you need, and you've got plenty of practice using the mathematics now. So hopefully you're a lot more confident.